Ladies and gentlemen, I have a very interesting podcast today. आज मेरा पुराना दोस्त Vaibhav Sisinty is on the show. For people who do not know Vaibhav Sisinty runs Outskill, which is one of the largest AI education platforms in the world. He runs Staying Ahead, which is the largest AI community in the world, where he promises updates every 2 days, where he's engaging with you about the current state of AI. And his mission, which is a unique mission, is to help 100 million people learn about AI. और आज हम बात यही कर रहे हैं, हम एआई के बारे में बात कर रहे हैं, हम बात कर रहे हैं जॉब्स के बारे में, हम बात कर रहे हैं इकोनॉमी के बारे में, हम बात कर रहे हैं सोसाइटी और साइकोलॉजी के बारे में, और किस तरीके से एआई का इन्फ्लुएंस हमारी सोसाइटी में एक बहुत बड़ा क्वेश्चन मार्क बन गया है. एंड वी आर टचिंग अपॉन थिंग्स दैट अदरवाइज गेट वेरी अनकंफर्टेबल टू टच अपॉन, बिकॉज किसी को नहीं पता फ्यूचर में क्या हो रहा है. सो इफ यू आर वॉचिंग दिस, ऑर्डर योरसेल्फ सम फूड, गो आउट फॉर अ वॉक, गो टू द जिम, पुट दिस इन योर ईयर्स, enjoy this free ranging conversation about artificial intelligence with Vaibhav Sisinty. And by the way, next episode, I'm dropping with a sports legend who you know. Follow for that. Hey guys, I forgot to say, if you want to be part of the Staying Ahead AI community, the link is in the description.
How much are you into AI?
Sufficiently. I mean, how much should I be
What is
into
sufficient?
AI? Well, I mean, I use it every day.
Are we rolling?
Yeah, we are rolling.
Okay.
I am reading up on at least all the non-technical stuff of it. I listen to Dwarkesh once in a while, so I get a technical understanding of it.
But are you a technical guy?
No, I'm not.
Okay.
I'm not technical.
So you're like me, script kiddie.
What is the word you used?
Script kiddie.
Script kiddie?
So have you been an engineer?
No, I'm not.
Okay, so script kiddies are those engineers who, if they read the line of code, they probably will understand what it is because they've studied some code in the past.
Got it.
But they have no idea what it can do.
Okay.
Right? So you're very good with copying and pasting. Right? But you understand so much that copying and pasting of code doesn't scare you.
अच्छा.
कि हाँ मैं copy paste करके तो देख सकता हूँ. A terminal window will not scare you, but you have never worked on it. So you have the ability, you have the feeling that I'll figure it out.
Samjha. Bro, what a strange world we live in now, man. I mean, जिस स्पीड से चीज़ें चेंज हो रही है ना, मतलब हम एज पे रह के भी कई बार फील करते हैं कि पता नहीं पकड़ में आ रहा है कि नहीं. जो थोड़ा सा और पीछे मीडियन एवरेज रहता है सिचुएशन, जिसको एक डेडिकेटेड पाथ दिया हुआ है कि तू पहले कॉलेज जा, फिर जॉब पकड़, एमबीए कर ले बीच में अगर करना है, उसका तो यार मतलब दैट मस्ट बी अ वेरी स्कैरी सिचुएशन, नो?
Yeah, I think, education has to be redone completely ground up, right? जो path था, traditional path, that has fundamentally changed already. But I think the world has not realized it. So if you see China and stuff, right? वो क्या कर रहे हैं यार? First standard, 6th grade से, I think first grade से वो लोग AI लेके आ रहे हैं, introduce करवा रहे हैं. Because here's the reality, okay? If anybody knows what has happened in the next 3 years, they're lying. Nobody knows.
Nobody knows.
Right? And yesterday, I was meeting Alex Wong. Alex Wong is the head of
Meta AI,
right? We
Product.
had a round table.
Yeah.
And I was the only pseudo-technical guy in that table. So I had the opportunity to ask questions, technical questions, and not look like an idiot. Because there's nobody better than me in that setup. So I asked him a question, yeah, tell me something. Look, there's a PR vetted answer that you guys give. When we ask you what is going to happen to the world. Right?
ठीक.
Every AI researcher, like there are papers being published, and Elon Musk comes and says we're in singularity, and we're talking about Dyson spheres and whatnot. Right? We're talking about sci-fi stuff that is turning into reality. आप ये बताओ मुझे, has the government, or are you guys having a dialogue with the people on the table on what the fuck will happen to this world 2 years from now? How will economy even work?
Yes.
We've been debating about jobs. जॉब नहीं रहेगा, उसके बाद लोग बोलते हैं नया जॉब आएगा. ये सब फालतू की बकवास है, ठीक है? The way things are moving, there are no jobs. There are going to be very few jobs. And those few jobs will also go away because what people are saying, have you read about the layers of
Why don't you
evolution?
explain? Even if I have, why don't you explain us? Like,
So
go through it.
I'll try to explain. I'll connect a lot of dots.
Yeah.
Okay. And before I say this, Prakhar, मैं तेरे को frankly बोल रहा हूँ, ये मेरा ज्ञान नहीं है. This is me reading stuff, me geeking out on it.
Okay.
Right? So what is the current state? Current state is AI is pretty good with most of the things. Right? There is something called as GDP val. GDP val is a benchmark which kind of measures AI versus humans on the top skills. So they have picked up 44 jobs, which contributes to major chunk of GDP for US, right? वो 44 jobs लेके आए. It could be accounting, nursing, finance, software, some 44 job roles. And they give tasks. the same task a 10-year experienced person in that role does today. ऐसे कुछ set of tasks are thrown at AI models. Okay, right now AI is better than human in 80% of the tasks, and that's not the kicker. The kicker is they're 1,000 times faster, much cheaper.
Oh shit.
And that is the case today. And this number was 13% 18 months back. The GPT-4 आया था, which was like, oh fuck, what is this? That score was some 12-13%. 4.6 Opus करके एक नया मॉडल आया था. Actually, yesterday only 4.6 Sonnet dropped. उसका score 30% higher है than the old model. So we are at probably 75-80% of the tasks AI being better at. So when this happens, what people were saying for the last 1 year is, yeah, ठीक है, AI is very good at it, but there is something that AI is not good with. And that is taking decisions. Because AI is not living and having this conversation. AI is not going around. It doesn't have the human sense. So you still need humans to do it. As a result, instead of 10 humans doing a job, there's going to be one person doing the job with 10 different AIs or 10 different AI agents. This is a narrative that you've heard. This is a concept called as orchestration. You're an AI orchestrator. The human, instead of managing people, they're managing AI agents, which is great, which made a lot of sense. Now, I ask you a question. AI models, have you heard of Mercor?
No.
Mercor is this company which does $1 billion in revenue today. Okay? Uska client hoga 5-6 log. All these large companies. What it does is, let's say a AI company, there's a Spotify, wants AI to get very good with podcasting. So what will it do? It will get a Prakhar and 10 more Prakhars to come and give, feedback to Spotify's AI. कैसे podcasting कर रहा है? ये अच्छा हो सकता है, वो अच्छा हो सकता है. That is reinforcement learning. A human is giving feedback to AI so that AI gets better at it. What happens when a lot of Prakhars, right now AI has figured out podcasting all by itself. जो आता है वो करता है. As a result, Prakhar is still winning. But when Prakhar, Joe Rogan, and 50 other podcasters in the world come and give feedback to AI, saying this is where you're screwing up, this is what you get better with, what will happen eventually? भाई मतलब क्या job बचेगा? I can't fathom what the job will be. Right? I can't imagine. Nobody has an answer to this. Everybody says humans evolve. But boss, I just told you the speed of evolution of AI in 18 months. Most of the country thinks AI is ChatGPT. Right?
Yeah.
Most of the world, countries are wrong. In fact, India is better, by the way. India is better. I'm coming from the AI summit. Of course, a lot of things they did is questionable. But because of sheer scale, things can break. But I've seen some incredible companies coming out. As well, छोटू बोटू बूथ में भी काफी interesting चीज हो रहे हैं. I believe someone has to figure out the future of fucking economics, of how the world works.
Right.
How the power law is changing.
Right.
And power law, right now, so far we were talking about 2080, then it became 1090, then it probably became 595. Right now we're probably at 0.5 and 99.5. I think that's going to equate to 0.001 and rest of the world.
Right. You have to explain. Let me do that for people. अच्छा एक तो you are comfortable in हिंदी. तो मैक्सिमम हिंदी में रखते हैं.
तो मुझे क्यों करना पड़ेगा because by default वो चला जाता है.
मैं ऐसे कर दूंगा, आप हिंदी बोल देना. But the power law thing is basically जब tools आते हैं, when technology gets inserted into the struggle of capital, people with existing capital make much more money, and then people who don't have capital make much less money. जिसको हम normal उसमें कहते हैं the rich get richer and the poor get poorer. That distance will widen because people who have early access to artificial intelligence and all its resources, उनका बहुत फायदा हो जाएगा. I also think you are, because I've been having a lot of conversations इस पूरे AI summit के दौरान about the future of work. Because timeline level issue है ना. अगर मैं long term में तो everything is solved. Long term में तो the world auto corrects, population will auto correct, उतने लोग ही नहीं होंगे अगर उतना काम ही नहीं हो.
Reset.
Right, like all that. But short term में जब jobs जाने लगेंगे, उसके साथ जो social और political upheaval आएगा ना boss, that's very dangerous to think of. Like मतलब चल सोशल और पॉलिटिकल भी छोड़ यार. एक घर में एक बच्चा जो बड़ा होता है उसको सारी जिंदगी बोलते हैं तू इंजीनियर बन, तू MBA कर, तू नौकरी पकड़, और जब तक वो वहां तक पहुंचता है वो रियलाइज करता है शिट दरवाजा ही बंद हो गया है, अब कोई एंट्री ले ही नहीं रहा. जब शुरू में ये सब बात करने लगे थे ना कि प्रॉम्प्ट इंजीनियरिंग विल बी अ न्यू जॉब, प्रॉम्प्ट इंजीनियरिंग, आई थिंक प्रॉम्प्ट इंजीनियरिंग इज जस्ट एडेड कॉन्टेक्स्ट. वो भी इवेंचुअली पिकअप कर लेगा.
I mean, prompt engineering is the simplest way of saying orchestration.
हाँ, लैंग्वेज बिल्कुल बेसिक ऑफ ऑर्केस्ट्रेशन वो भी पिकअप कर लेगा बिकॉज द इंसेंटिव ऑफ द आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस इज टू अंडरस्टैंड यू विदाउट यू मेकिंग टू मच एफर्ट. तो ऐसा होता है मंडे को उठो तो बहुत फ्यूचर बड़ा ब्लीक दिखता है, ट्यूसडे को उठो तो लगता है शायद रोशनी है, वेंसडे को जाओ तो वापस ब्लीक लगता है, राइट? लाइक और बहुत सारे शॉर्ट टर्म क्वेश्चंस निकल के आते हैं कि सबसे पहले कौन सी जॉब्स रिप्लेस होंगी, मैं क्या करूं एज अ 20 समथिंग, एज अ 15 समथिंग, एज अ 35 समथिंग, एंड यू डील विद people of this type all the time.
Yeah.
For a lot of people जो इसको सुन रहे होंगे जिनको नहीं पता exactly वैभव कौन है, give me a little brief on that and then tell me like what the hell, like what the hell, that's the mood of the conversation today, huh?
Fair. Yeah, see, I've been doing too many things since the last 10 years. I've worked for interesting companies. I've built companies. I've worked for companies like Uber. I've worked for companies like Klook. Did business roles, a bunch of them. Right, worked in multiple markets. Built a few companies. Did GrowthSchool before. Right now, we are completely focused on Outskill. What we do at Outskill is, teach the word AI, right? And while I don't think it's a long-term solution to the problem, but I do believe that it's a short-term solution of figuring out what could be the next thing, and that is why we enable people with AI, teaching AI, right? And that's the only thing that we do. And yeah, abhi to matlab we teach to people in more than 100 different countries every single month. We teach millions of people. We're trying to make AI education free. One that we do is via distribution. What we are doing right now, of course, tapping into your distribution to teach a lot more people about AI. And of course, there is social, and then there is our Zoom sessions and stuff like that. So that's what high level I do. So I basically, the reason why we are able to have this dialogue is because I've been geeking on this for the last 2.5 years. I've left everything to just do this, right? And the reason why I did it is because first time when I used not ChatGPT, but something called as code interpreter inside of ChatGPT. So code interpreter back in a couple of years back, right after ChatGPT release 3.5 आ गया था, उसके बाद 4 तब तक आया नहीं था शायद. They released a feature called as code interpreter ChatGPT, जिसमें ना I was able to dump a CSV file and I was able to say, can you analyze and tell me the top insights? So this was a couple of years back. And when it drew me graphs and charts and gave me insights that my data team would do in like 5 minutes, I'm like, this is 2 years back.
Right.
And since then, I'm saying, boss, what is going to happen to jobs? Because I saw it write code at speed that no human can even imagine.
Right. Completely with
and
you.
This was 2 years back. So since then till now, I've been tracking, I've been seeing, I've been reading, I've been geeking on what is happening in the world of AI and been playing with it on top of it. Right. So that puts me, I believe, in an interesting position to kind of gauge what could be the thing. And I also happen to run a 200-member company.
Right.
So I am also seeing how roles are evolving inside of my company. How my product designer is able to ship a full app. Someone who was sitting on Figma right now shipping an app which is in production being used by users. How an intern who joined 6 months back has built a system that is being used by 500,000 people in our users without a software engineer. Right? How people, different kinds, how marketers have become video guys who are doing creative strategy and creating visuals and creatives all by themselves, while before this they were just writing copy. How a head of performance marketing kind of runs performance marketing via MCPs and AI agents rather than more humans. The world as we know it is changing in front of us. And what puts me in this position and what makes me, जिससे डर मुझे इससे लगता है कि most of the people either are ignorant about it because they're too scared of it, of accepting it, or two is they just don't realize what's happening. And both of these guys have to be told, boss, if everything goes right, sab changa si, right? Let's say I'm wrong, and I hope I'm wrong. Let's say you're wrong, and I hope you're wrong. But it's not our thoughts. We are reciprocating what we are reading. I'm reading what a Elon is saying. I'm reading what a Sam is saying. I'm reading what a Jan LeCun is saying. Right? I'm saying basis of what I'm hearing from people. And most of the people don't have an incentive to lie. In fact, they have an incentive to compress the facts.
Yeah, minimize it.
Which,
जोर से नहीं बोलना.
which they have been doing for a very long time.
Right.
Which is the sad part.
Right.
They have been trying to say this because लोगों का फट जाता है जब सुन के, और गवर्नमेंट प्रेशर डालता है. Nobody wants Trump to come and say that, you know what, let's stop it, while he can't do it because China will screw their asses.
Right.
But
there's a competitive angle to it. And there is टेक्नोलॉजी के साथ एक चीज़ है कि एक बार वो गाड़ी भागने लगती है उसको आप रोक नहीं सकते, क्योंकि फिर कंपेटिटिव फोर्सेस एक्टिवेट हो जाती है और उस टेक्नोलॉजी को अक्वायर करने का जो कंपेटिटिव एडवांटेज है that just outweighs everything else.
I think we are out of that question also.
Huh.
Like, there is no, like, back in the day, I don't know if you have read this, that Elon Musk and all these people signed saying we should slow down AI pace.
I think so, yes.
हुआ था पुराने जमाने में जो 12 महीने पहले था राइट
पुराना ज़माना, you're right, हाँ.
उसके बाद कोई बात नहीं कर रहा है. उसके बाद इलॉन मस्क साइन किया, खुद का कंपनी लगा दिया ग्रॉक. नाउ तो वो SpaceX बन गया, उसका डिफरेंट स्टोरी है अभी.
Right.
The game that he's playing is on a different league. You see, the world order is changing. So
Yeah. But you know what is very interesting about what you were just saying right now about how performance marketers have an ascension in their role. Somebody who was doing growth is now doing creative also. Somebody doing PM is now suddenly
Building
also
product.
building products. So is like the short-term future of work in artificial intelligence just ascension ki 2-4 और tasks include, okay, suddenly I have a whole role as opposed to a partial sliver. यही मैथ है क्या?
I think so. I believe so. I truly believe in that because I'm seeing incredible results in that level of optimization. Because I believe, everybody has to become something called as an AI generalist. Who are generalists? Generalists are problem solvers, right? And problem solving as a generalist was confined to the skills that you had before. मतलब अगर तू podcaster है, तू content creator है, कितना ही कर सकता है. तू खुद का प्रोडक्ट तो नहीं बना सकता है टू स्ट्रीमलाइन योर पॉडकास्टिंग सर्विस, राइट? इट इज कन्फाइंड टू अ पॉइंट बिफोर, इवन दो यू आर अ स्ट्रॉन्ग जनरलिस्ट. बट AI just break those barriers. You can do anything you want. I was just having lunch before I came here, and I met a couple of kids working for a startup that I don't want to name. And they saw me and they were excited, and I asked them, what do you do? What do you guys do? One person is a PM, product manager, and the other person is a marketing manager. And I saw their screens around. Both of them had VS Code on. VS Code is an IDE where software engineers write code. Both of them had VS Code on. I was like, you guys have VS Code on? I was like, yeah, we are vibe coding a product to solve, basically this company has hundreds of YouTube channels. And they're not able to figure out what is the insight from each of the comment that's coming because they're getting tens of thousands of comments. So one product manager, one marketing manager, look at the combination, are sitting and building a product to understand what their audiences are saying, which is supposedly a software engineer and a AI ML engineer's job. एक marketing manager और एक product manager बैठ के खुद कोड लिख के प्रोडक्ट बना रहे थे. I was so happy to see this.
What they're basically doing at that point is probably giving कि मेरा requirement ये है to something like a cursor or whatever or Claude or whatever, and then it is producing the code that they're then running.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
It's a different language, by the way, altogether. It's a language that they do not speak necessarily.
They don't understand what's happening either.
हाँ, वो लिख के भी बता नहीं सकते कि क्या लिखा है उन्होंने, but it is producing digital infrastructure at this point. And the cost of producing digital infrastructure has gone to close to zero.
Yeah, the cost of inference is going to zero. Like, I was reading one more stat today as I was coming to this pod. Sam Altman just said that India hit 100 million monthly active users on ChatGPT. 100 million on just ChatGPT. Right now, India AI Summit में उन्होंने announce किया. What does that mean?
What does that mean?
That basically means that every 100 million people in the country today, that is 20% of people who have access to internet, have an access to a superpower.
That's a very interesting statistic.
That is democratization of knowledge at billion scale.
Sure.
Right?
So
उससे क्या होता है? Like, everybody from a farmer to a carpenter to my caretaker, who now, so my grandmother has caretaker. She speaks in Kannada. She opens up Gemini and says, auntie is feeling like this in Kannada. What should I take as the next step in the night? When nobody is up, let's say I'm not alone.
Right.
I just taught her, tap on this button, just say. And Gemini says it out, saying, okay, you know what, give her a massage. It's for my grandmom.
So right.
Give her a leg massage and do it like this in Kannada.
In Kannada?
In Kannada.
That's crazy.
Yeah. It's not perfect. Multilingual is not perfect. Indian language is not perfect. Nahi hai. That is where AI for Bharat and Josh Talks and Sarvam and all these guys are doing a lot of work together to build India stack. But बन जाएगा, ये सब बन जाएगा.
हाँ, technological gap है. हाँ.
Democratization. You get my point.
I definitely
I'll tell you
get
one
your
more.
point. हाँ.
I have Sandeep, who is my cook.
हाँ.
Right? Protein shake जो पीना पड़ता है, I'm done. I don't want to drink more protein shakes. Right? I've tried every bloody protein shake in the world.
Right.
Now I've given him protein milk, जो अभी आता है आपको पता है.
Right.
and iso whey, which is 50 grams of protein done for the day. And now he just goes to ChatGPT or something, turns on voice because he doesn't know how to type. मुझे भी वो voice notes भेजता है WhatsApp में. वैसे ही voice note भेजता है आज भैया के लिए कुछ नया बनाना है, प्रोटीन पाउडर है, प्रोटीन का दूध है, क्या डाल के क्या बना सकता हूँ. तो एक नया रेसिपी आता है. Every 3 days he surprises me with a new recipe
of protein.
हाँ. एक दिन केला डाल देता है. 2 days back he got strawberries, raspberries or something like that, and some cumin powder something. कुछ तो बना के दिया. मैं बोला ये क्या है भाई?
Right.
This is like a bloody milkshake. कहाँ से बनाया?
Right.
Like भैया आज आप स्ट्रॉबेरी से बोर हो गए थे, लेकिन स्ट्रॉबेरीज था मेरे पास, तो मैं और 2-3 चीज जेप्टो से ऑर्डर करके ये बनाया.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
I was having, a lot of our jobs are sitting down, and sitting down over a long period of time will begin to hurt your neck and your back. And overall, मेरे को ये realize हुआ कि, well, I have some postural discomfort. और मैं सही बताऊं, for a year I was struggling with like going to physios and trying to understand, and I did get a handle कि हो क्या रहा है, issue क्या है largely, कौन सा muscle tight है, कौन सा muscle weak है. But to come up with a system in my busy schedule, जो मैं रोज आधा घंटा follow कर सकूं, of just stretches, by the way, stretches and strengthening. Neck strengthen करनी है, hip flexor stretch करने हैं, इस order में करने हैं, इस progression में करने हैं, यहाँ track करना है, यहाँ map करना है. And boss, अभी जो ये ChatGPT का window है ना, ये it's like command prompt window back in the day. In 1997, before Windows came about, हम command prompt में जो type करते थे ना, तो वो मेरे को टेक्स्ट में ही आंसर कर रहा है. अभी वो फिजिकल रियलिटी में कोई मूव अराउंड नहीं कर रहा. एंड बॉस, आई फील लाइक अ न्यू मैन. वो सिर्फ वो रूटीन फॉलो करके उसको फीडबैक देता रहा कि यार इससे मेरे को लग रहा है ये फर्क नहीं आ रहा, मेरे को लोअर बैक में अभी भी थोड़ा इशू लग रहा है, एंड देन यू शुड डू दिस काइंड ऑफ स्ट्रेंथनिंग एंड दैट काइंड ऑफ स्ट्रेंथनिंग. आइडिया जनरेशन के मामले में I feel like it's infinite. My wife actually, when she's painting, she will use it to understand what colors to mix to produce special effects.
Beautiful.
I don't understand the technicality of painting that well, but like it's an active, there's 3 people in the room. There is the subject that she's painting, there is a painter itself, and then bloody ChatGPT who she's like talking to, constantly figuring out how she wants to express herself. And मतलब धीमे जो friendly है bro. At this point, it's a friend with infinite ideas.
Yes.
That's what it's come to be. It's an assistant if you want it to be. It's a friend if you want it to be. It's an EA if you want it to be. Something of that nature.
Yeah.
Right? That's what it's acquiring as a space.
Yeah.
After having spent a lot of time also on it for personal use, ठीक है? I found कि एक तो ये context track नहीं करता over a long period of time.
Yes.
So like at a certain level of depth ना वो भूलने लगता है कि पूरी बात का context क्या है. Like after 7-8 corrections to my stretching routine, it forgot what the original use case of the stretch was. So एक that, दूसरा मेरे को लगता है taste और judgment level पे ना, because I look at it from my profession. मेरे को लगता है कि my profession operates on personality to some extent. It operates on systems and optics. वो अलग बात है. Personality, taste and judgment. That's what my game's about. और मेरे को लगता है वहाँ पे it by nature is a game of non-averages. तो समझ रहा है, लाइक देयर आर सर्टन गेम्स यू प्ले जहां पे नॉन एवरेज विंस, एंड आई फील लाइक वो एरियाज थोड़े से अभी.
What do you mean by non-averages wins?
यार, एज अ ट्रेडर, say I trade the stock market, right? If I have the same information as everybody else, there is nothing exceptional I will do.
Got it.
Right?
It.
And
What
so,
is your edge?
Right. You need that sort of edge. मेरे को पता होना चाहिए कि the market is moving in that direction, तो वैभव को बुला के artificial intelligence की बात करते हैं. That is something that the AI is not predicting yet. At least the ones that we have access to, because they are very generalized. Maybe you're smiling at me like I'm wrong. You're smiling at me like I'm fucking wrong. So tell me if I don't know properly, because I don't think you can have super intelligence democratized. I think जैसे ही आप intelligence पूरी democratize कर देते हो, वो layer average हो जाता है. Like everybody has it. Then you need something else as a competitive advantage. No? Am I
It's
looking?
never about the tool. It's about how you use the tool.
Acha, tell me more. Huh.
Right? Again, like, your girlfriend does painting with the same paintbrush that you can try to do the same painting.
No way.
You can't.
Right.
Like, there's no way you'll get there. To generalize a statement that I made, but the thing with AI is what they have done so far is how can anyone in the world can use the product is what they're optimizing for. Right? You're right on that level. Everybody has the same tool. If you ask it to write, do a research on the questions that I should ask Vaibhav, like, it'll give you a list of questions and it'll probably give a similar question to 10 more people who ask. How do you take it to one level X? One level more. Hey, you know what? Vaibhav is coming for this podcast. Why don't you go through all the shots of mine that I've ever created around tech and AI, pick up the comments, basis of that, frame the questions. That is second layer of better prompting or better pushing the system to think. The third layer of thing is, hey, Vaibhav has done so many podcasts, he has so much content. Go through all of his comments, podcasts of his comments, podcasts of his shorts and reels, pull out all the top questions that has come in, pull out the things that I've done well. I want to add my flavor to it and then build a question. That gets to a better layer of questioning even further. You can take it to even next level, saying there are some big voices of AI coming in. So not just this information of what has worked well and what Vaibhav's audience, what my audience are asking, but actually go into Reddit and go into threads of Reddit, which is getting the highest amount of negativity in terms of people being scared about. People need answers that they don't have. Find me those questions as well, which is data driven. Now, the same tool that you're using can do all of this. It's just that we don't know how to make them happen. It's the same paintbrush, but your girlfriend figured out that she can use AI to mix two colors to give an effect that you can't even comprehend.
Right.
Because you're not an artist.
Right.
Right? With AI, the more we stay on superficial levels, that is where it stays. You have to push it. You have to push it. You have to ask more. You have to say that I don't like this. What more can I do? Give me more ideas. How can I make it better? And it does help you make it better. Now, as I say this thing, coming to the point of, hey, it forgets context. It's a technical problem. Every AI model has something called as a context window. Have you heard of context window? Context window is, see, AI is like a gajni, right? Usko itna hi information dimag mein reh sakta hai. Most of the context windows are under 200k tokens. So simply saying, let's say more than 2 books of information, if you go beyond it, what was said before, it forgets. So it's called context window. How much can it remember? बहुत लोग क्या करते हैं ना? Let's say I'm assuming what you would have done is you opened up a ChatGPT or a Gemini or a Claude का window, let's say Gemini in this case, and you started to talk to it. वो तेरे को stretches का ये दे रहा है और तू उसी के ऊपर हर दिन बात करते जा रहा है वही chat के window के अंदर. So पहले जो हुआ है वो भूल चुका है because that has gone beyond its context window. Now there are 2 ways to solve this. One is that जो general tools हम लोग use करते हैं, these are consumer grade tools. That is for people like you, me, and also Sandeep. Right? Everybody should be able to use it. So it by default comes with a lower context window because of cost optimization. ठीक है? But most of these models like Anthropic and all of them have hit a million context window. मतलब उनका memory is already 5, 6, 10 times better. But वो expensive है, as a result वो open tools में डालते नहीं है. तुमको API में थोड़ा vibe code अगर कर देता है इसके लिए एक tool, and you would have used the right API there, then this problem would not have happened. But the best solution to context window actually is to use a project.
Got it.
Claude में project होता है.
Right.
Gemini में there's something called as Gemini Gems.
Right.
ChatGPT has something called as projects, or ChatGPT also has something called as custom GPTs. जिसमें you can write a prompt. Prompt is not anything, you don't have to go any scientific. You just talk about, let's say you had a nice conversation. You got it for the first time that AI nailed it. ठीक है, तू converse कर रहा है. It figured out the way around it. AI nailed it. Then you just say, look, you got all the context. Make sure you convert everything that I've just told you into a reusable prompt that I can use inside of a project. So what will AI do is, for all the conversation it has had so far, it will condense all of that into a prompt. You take that prompt, go to ChatGPT projects, वो sidebar में तेरे को दिख जाएगा, या Gemini Gems, या Claude project, whichever tool you're using. Usme there's always a box called instructions. You just dump it there. Now, the base context is set. No matter how many times you use that project, it always goes back to that same book.
Got it.
So the information is retained. As a result, your context breaking nahi hoga. And every time you found a new insight, and I do this, right. If I'm using a project, and I believe that I've given it new instructions, new insight, I say, can you tell me what are the new things that I just told you? It'll again give you an insight. You copy and paste that inside the instructions again. So you're building your workbook, instruction book.
Very interesting.
So this is technically called as a RAG, right? But the simplest language for all these commercial grade products are essentially apna, like I told you,
memory window.
It's a instruction, and on top of that, right now, क्या बोलते हैं? Memory is actually slightly different, right? Like memory is remembering the nuance of things across.
Got it. Context is more short term.
Context is how much it can remember over a course of time.
Got it.
Right? After a point of time, so memory and instructions में होता क्या है ना, every time you send a question, it doesn't answer. It goes and reads the instructions first. It goes and reads your memory first to remind itself what exactly it is supposed to do. So it never forgets. Sometimes it does. So you just have to say, can you make sure you read the instructions again?
Right.
And it just works.
It's pretty funny if you prompt your artificial intelligence with extreme कि मैं तेरे को sue कर दूंगा या मैं तेरे को थप्पड़ मार दूंगा. It behaves very differently.
Yeah.
Right?
I know.
And so it kind of replicates the human emotion कि मेरे को पिटना नहीं है. And it's so funny when you're typing it. You're like, देख मेरे को ये instruction चाहिए. अगर तूने गलत किया मैं तेरे में थप्पड़ मारूंगा. And it gives a different response. There is also some kind of deep research mode you can access. For instance, GPT has reason mode, right? Like where it does like analytical stuff and it explains why it's thinking. And I remember the first time I came across that, it was kind of like, bro, ये तो क्या ही बोल दिया इसमें? Like for the first time, bro, I've read all the books you can think in the world, right? Like I'm very fond. For the first time I read something and I was like, this makes no sense to me. This is such advanced knowledge. मेरे को लगा ये तो, and now you can laugh about it in hindsight. The minute you're first exposed to something like this, it's fairly scary.
Yeah.
And I think the short-term good news is this is a tool, but I wonder, you talk to a lot of people who are using or beginning to use artificial intelligence. What do you observe about them? Like how are they using it? What are some things they can do to make it better, etc.?
I think the best use of tech so far of AI has been on offloading a lot of thinking, right? Outsourcing thinking to AI. It's like working with AI or thinking with AI. You know what you want to do, but you want to get that AI's reasoning model to think for you deeper. Then you can, because you cannot sit and read 25 articles. So people who've been outsourcing their thinking, hey, I'm thinking of, answering this question to Prakhar's question. What do you think about the answer? First, is it factually correct? Because I might have read something else and I'm telling something else. So is it factually correct? 2, can you quickly get me 2-3 data points? These are my original thoughts though, right? But can you get me 2-3 data points that validates this? So this is outsourcing of thinking. Right? And I see this people doing across for different things. Like voice mode is a powerful way to do it. A lot of tech guys, or in fact, in my team, the sub tech guys here, like they operate like tech guys. So a lot of this thinking happens while building products also. So I'm thinking of taking this approach. What do you think? And say, oh yeah, that's a great way to go about it. Then say, okay, implement it now. Right? So that outsourcing, understanding how you can outsource thinking is a very interesting thing to do. What you should not do is allow AI to do all the work. So there are 2 ways of going about it. Give me answer to this question, or, which is a wrong way to do. The right way to do is, this is what I'm thinking to answer this question. Tell me how good am I or how can I make it better? Right? This is working with AI. The first option is just giving the work to AI.
Right.
The moment you give work to AI, your brain becomes a rot space, right? You stop thinking. Your ability to think goes away, goes to donkeys. And there have been researchers, right? You must have read that MIT research where, the cognitive ability of humans who use a lot of AI to outsource in a way that they're not thinking anymore. They're giving AI to think. Their cognitive ability is shrinking. It's going down.
And it is already measurable?
It is. I mean, I don't know how they measure.
Can you look up the study?
You can look up the study. MIT study.
3 साल में ही मतलब?
ये 1.5 years पहले हुआ. In fact, there's a recent study that happened on coding. This is specifically on coding. And I'll tell you, before I go into the coding thing, the reason why coding is any study that happens on coding is very interesting and is relevant to everyone, not just software engineers, is because the world on the internet runs on code. It's just that we are not surface to it. Right? You don't write code to edit your videos, but it runs on the code in the backend. So any study on code is actually relevant to everyone who is working in the knowledge economy.
Right.
Right? Now, this coding study failed to remember who did it, quite frankly. You can look it up again. What they did was, they gave a problem statement to 2 sets of people. एक को AI दिया, एक को AI नहीं दिया. ठीक है, to build that same product or whatever, right? Obviously, people who had AI were able to ship the product much faster. People who didn't have AI, they had to learn. Both of them had to learn and do it. These guys took the time to learn without AI and eventually shipped the product. Obviously, people with AI were much faster, which is great news, right? But then a follow-up question on when something breaks and someone were asked a question on the system that they built, people who built with AI struggled to solve for it. They could not fix a bug. They could not figure out how to make the changes. But the people who did it themselves were much better at it, though they were fast. Now, in the bucket of people who used code or who used AI to build it, there were two kinds of people. One, who just got AI to do everything for themselves. They are the guys who suck donkeys. But there's another set of people who took the approach of understanding what the problem is with AI, figuring out what AI is actually doing, and working with it, were actually the best out of these three lots.
So it's not alone, it's not only AI, it's that
It's
sort
with
of...
AI.
Haan, right, okay.
It's with AI.
Huh.
Are the people who did it. So there's a fine line that you have to draw. So when interns and all these kids joined, right, in the orientation, I say one thing. If you are someone who will not use AI, you will not be in this company for a very long time. But if you are someone who use only AI, you will not be good enough to be in any company in the world. You have to find that middle ground.
That's very interesting. And that's very well said, actually. I think it is, I was reading this about lawyers. Okay? I come from, a lot of people in my family are lawyers.
Nice.
Okay? So I almost also became a lawyer. So the context is कि मैं 20 साल सपना देखा, वो दुनिया मेरी थी, वो तो मैं कहीं और पहुंच गया. राइट
जो तेरे साथ हुआ भी उसके लिए लॉयर बनना पड़ता
और नहीं वो हुआ ही इसलिए क्योंकि मैं लॉयर हूँ, राइट, स्पिरिचुअली. मैं भाई एक आई वाज रीडिंग दिस, आई थिंक द चीफ जस्टिस सुप्रीम कोर्ट सेड समथिंग कि भाई लोग क्या कर रहे हैं, दे आर राइटिंग देयर पिटिशंस, लॉयर्स आर राइटिंग इट इन यूजिंग एआई एंड इट्स जस्ट प्रोड्यूसिंग बुलशिट.
व्हाट इज दैट, मैनकाइंड वर्सेस
mercy versus mankind. And it's producing bullshit case laws and whatever and inserting it. It is AI did something where it quoted a judgment written by some other judge, where the judge has not said anything of that nature at all. और वो cross referencing paper पे possible नहीं है. So
वो जज भी एग्जिस्ट नहीं करता था ना.
जज एग्जिस्ट करता रहा, बट इट हैज नेवर कम आउट ऑफ हिज माउथ. और अगर वो बाय चांस जिस जज ने पढ़ा उसने वो क्रॉस रेफरेंस नहीं किया पुराना जजमेंट एंड ही रियलाइजेस कि ऐसा कुछ कहा नहीं है, यू वुड बेक समथिंग इनटू लॉ दैट ओनली एआई इमेजिन्ड. एंड ये हालत है हमारे देश का, लाइक ऐसे लॉ चल रहा है, राइट. एंड सो द चीफ जस्टिस वाज वेल obviously angry annoyed at the fact, but it's very well said कि no matter what person of what age, they are asking me about artificial intelligence or even social class. Like my driver sitting in me be like, भैया इसको कैसे यूज करना है AI को, right? उसके फोन में उसने आज तक नंबर नहीं सेव किया कि उसको टाइपिंग नहीं आती.
Crazy, but right. Voice.
But वो voice के through he will find a way to access it also. But it's kind of like magic and it's going to invade every part of our lives. And so we have to find a way to work with it that is not ऐसा नहीं कि इसी के भरोसे बैठ गए या इसको बिल्कुल ही हटा दिया. There has to be that sort of element, right?
Yeah.
Very interesting.
And it's not just India. I think this is lawyers being very lazy or not having a paid account of a tool, I guess. Because while hallucination is true, ये जो case हुआ ना where it quoted things that didn't exist, this is where it becomes important for you to have the knowledge of using the right tool for the right task. You cannot just you cannot just be that person who will just ask a question and get an answer and use it.
Right.
Citations and all, these used to be problems before. They're not so much of a problem anymore because of features like deep research and all, which builds everything basis of available information. अगर तू notebook LM type के tool में जाके, अगर if I had to do something with law, in fact, I have done a few things. Companies में तो you know what happens, right? So I need to be a micro lawyer myself.
Right.
Every founder has to be. So basically, I have my notebook LM set up where I have fed in every corporate law ka stuff, and I keep doing deep research to keep adding sources of citations, of case laws and all of that. And I query that knowledge rather than open ChatGPT knowledge. So any question, any answer that comes for any question comes from this rather than the open world. As a result, hallucination fundamentally goes down. ये जो wrong citations होते हैं. To fix this, the way I operate when it comes to I can't be wrong in this is I don't rely on one model.
Okay.
एक आंसर आया, वो आंसर उठा के I will basically go to a Claude, turn on the extended thinking and turn on the research mode on, and I'll say these are the facts. Vet it and tell me how many of them are correct, how many of them are wrong, or how many of them are directionally correct. I want to have understanding of all of this, and it gives me the second layer of vetting. ऐसे नहीं कि AI cannot do it. It's just that you don't understand how to use AI to do it in the right way. That's it. Right? Because I have seen this screw ups being done not just by lawyers, man. Like Deloitte Consulting has published a report for US, I think for Fed, right? Which had all wrong citations. They were fined. Deloitte was fined for this. So sitting with a guy, I mean, I turned around and he was making this fancy deck. I didn't know who he was, and he was switching between ChatGPT and deck. ChatGPT copy paste कर रहा था. भूल के बोला भाई करते क्या हो? He was like, I'm a VP in this consulting firm and I'm going for a presentation for a client and hence I'm doing it. But you're using AI, bro, for everything. I was like, yeah, that's what we do. Then why do people pay you? And he turns around and is like, look, man, I don't want to say this, but the reality is that people pay us because they don't know how to use AI anymore.
Really?
That's what he throws around and goes back to his work.
Wow. It almost sounds like एक end से the producer is using AI, दूसरे end से the consumer is using AI. Like, you know, the funny instance is I am texting somebody for something and I'm using AI to text them and they're texting me back using ChatGPT prompt. And so eventually computer से बात कर रहा है.
Huh?
और हम वहाँ खड़े हैं, we're just like performing, right?
Yeah. Orchestrating.
Orchestrating is a big word at that point, boss. Like, you know, I think one of the mistakes that freshers do when they're using artificial intelligence is they use it in communication. And I think it's such an instant distrust signal कि अब मैं तेरे से बात ही नहीं कर रहा और मेरे को तेरे M- देख के पता लग गया मैं तेरे से बात नहीं कर रहा. और अब मैं तेरे पे भरोसा कैसे करूं कि जो तू सोच के भी आया खुद सोच के आया मेरे को पता तूने क्या प्रॉम्प्टिंग करी है. You'll tell me these are my thoughts, I just used AI to compress them. You're making a fundamental social mistake here.
Yeah.
I will not be able to trust your intelligence because you masked it behind AI very early. थोड़ा तो रुक के करता, like at least. और I think it goes back to the theme of supplementing what you know, adding AI into the workflow as opposed to AI becoming the workflow itself. At least in these realms, right?
Fair. I think we are so early to these things that
Right.
I think our judgments will also evolve.
That's a good point.
Right. M- does annoy me, right? When I see emails, when I get cold emails and all. But I also realize that without that M-, if the person would have written the email, I hope that it was his knowledge or her knowledge and they used it and not just said write a cold email to Vaibhav.
Right.
But I also do the same. Now I'm judging that person based on the fact that that person forgot to do a chain prompt saying, make sure you remove M-.
Right.
Now, the
Right,
way
I
I
see what
judge
you
that
mean.
person right now is like, okay, the person, how do I treat this person? Like the person is using AI, it's a good job.
Right.
I want to work with more people who use AI. But then the person is using fundamental AI, which my grandmother uses. So I'm not so happy with you. So I'm okay with you using AI, but just use it in the right way.
Right.
And that
Cosmetically treated होगा अगर तो मैं इतना माइंड नहीं करूंगा and then right.
because मैं तुमको क्या ही बोल के जज करूँ.
हाँ, सही बात
क्योंकि
है.
मेरे पास तो प्रोजेक्ट बन के है which mimics my style of writing.
हाँ, okay.
My bloody content is generated using AI. मैं तो कैमरा के सामने नहीं आता हूँ.
अच्छा वो avatar वाला scene है. हाँ.
I generate 100 million views
हाँ.
per month on just content which is generated using AI.
हाँ, right.
Now, if anybody says that, bro, you didn't put effort, AI created, I'm like, are you fucking mad? Do you think 100 million people will watch my content if I put no effort? All the thoughts are mine. It's me thinking. It's just that I didn't have the time to sit and shoot content.
Right.
So it's the same feeling that I have before I judge someone saying that, hey, you use AI to
I see what you mean.
Yeah.
You know, I was talking to Varun yesterday and I was like, Varun, the first two places where AI will, or rather, I'll say it like this. The first point of contact people will have with artificial intelligence is content. Not just in the sense कि आपका reels और आपका जो tweets है वो अब AI generated है. But अगर मैं एक तरीके से, if I look at the world as an evolution of media cycle, we went from radio waves to television waves which were gate kept by production houses कि भाई यही देखोगे आप.
Correct.
ठीक है. To then कोई भी अपना काम बनाओ, democratized. But it is still curated content. It is still content Vaibhav makes that then Himanshu consumes or Prakhar consumes.
Sure.
Now we are in personalized content era where whatever I talk to, it gives me personalized responses. At the end of the day, it's content. It's low level entertainment. आप मानो चाहे मत मानो, even the way ChatGPT responds and says, oh, by the way, do you also want me to answer these 3 questions? It's this continuation of content, right? And we are already in the era where all content is personalized.
Yeah.
My guess is most people in this case will be using artificial intelligence for low level anxiety management. क्योंकि पूरा दिन लाइफ में अनसर्टनिटी है, वैसे ही अनसर्टनिटी है मैक्रो लेवल पे माइक्रो लेवल पे भी. एंड आई एम लाइक, हे बॉस ये अनसर्टनिटी है इसका क्या करूं, ये बॉस ये अनसर्टनिटी है इसका क्या करूं. इज दैट योर रीड ऑल्सो इन पीपल, लाइक जो प्राइमरी पर्पस हो जाता है यूज करने का, वो इवेंचुअली बिकम्स दिस सूडो थेरेपी काइंड ऑफ अ जोन फॉर पीपल.
It is a huge use case, right?
Huge use case.
Huge. And it has become a entry barrier. I mean, it has become an entry point for a lot of people to use AI, right? Because questions of uncertainty is something there was nobody to answer them, and now they have somebody to answer, right? Like, it's crazy, dude. My dad recently got diagnosed with cancer.
Oh, I'm sorry, bro.
Yeah, but he's doing well right now, right? उनका चल रहा है सब कुछ. It's all good right now. And he is so educated on this right now purely because of AI. Every bloody report that comes in goes inside of it. If he feels back pain, before he tells me, he tells AI. Hey, these are... because AI knows what has happened. And I've given him the project of all his files inside of it. So it has context. Right? And it has become his go-to thing. And AI, in a way, has been quite nice. Right? It is more positive than negative for most of the cases.
Right.
Because... if you go to a doctor, what is happening with hospitals in the country, right? My grandmom is feeling a little unwell, so we take her to hospital and the doctor says, admit her.
Right.
Just admit her because that's how they can make money, right? Same happens with this. But an AI is able to take a step back, look at your reports and able to gauge you based on data, based on reports, based on reality, like the scientific movements that have happened, based on all the data it has. As a result, it is able to guide him and tell him, look, you just had a therapy session a couple of days back that could lead to inflammation and that could lead to back pain. So it's fine. Ab ye 2-3 stretch karo. And he did those stretches. 3-4 days later, the pain went away. And he built that trust, you know what I mean? With AI saying, bhai, isko to pata hai. Now, if I say something, Dad, you're wrong. He says, no, look what ChatGPT said. It was right before, so it's right now also.
Right.
I don't trust you, son.
Right.
I trust this damn thing more. Then I have to debate more. I have to ask him, show me your conversation. Show what you asked it. This is beautiful. But if there is something wrong, it will put those red flags as well, which has done it for my grandmom. Right? It put those red flags. At 2 o'clock in the night, I saw some symptoms kind of worsening on my grandmom. And I asked AI. It said, boss, this is not looking good. Just call an ambulance and take her to ICU. And we did. Or else, what would I have done? तू और मैं क्या करते अगर ये एक्सेस नहीं
फोन ही करते रह जाते या फिर ट्रैक करते रहते
आएगा?
हाँ, कौन
Because
आएगा?
instinctively first thing to our head is not that take her to the hospital.
Right.
Yeah, ICU is not something that is commonly thrown at in India.
Right. We don't even know what the entry point to
Yeah,
ICU is.
exactly.
हाँ, कि किस स्टेज पे ICU जाना चाहिए.
Exactly,
हाँ,
because
right.
for us in movies that we have seen, ICU मतलब मरने वाला है.
हाँ, कि वो आगे रोशनी लग रही है, वो बंद लग रहा है. Right. Yes, yes, you're right. That
It's
is
not
the imagery.
instinctive for us. So the only thing that I could think of at that point of time is, let's see what happens to the morning. We will take her to the hospital. And I asked AI the same thing. Can't I take her to hospital at 9 o'clock in the morning?
And it said no.
AI said, 8 hours back, you said this is the condition. 8 hours later, you said this is the condition. And it asked me to get some tests done, of a sodium test done. I got the test done. वो sodium low था. Right? Which also doctor recommended, but 3 hours later, when I got access to a doctor on Practo. Right? But AI had recommended before that. So I did a test on the beauty of the country that we live in, man. I can get a test done at any hour, in hours, without an appointment.
Yeah.
Right? Got the test done, send the report back. AI said, look, this is what it is. The symptoms are this. It could be this, and this. It's not worth taking a risk considering how old she is. And if you delay it till the morning, you don't want things to get worse now. So, if you can afford to, if you can, just take her to ICU. That's the best thing you can do as a grandson. It's being nice as well.
And there's a moral push to it.
Yeah, there's a moral push to it. Always.
Right.
Always. Right?
So interesting.
And I'm like, what? My dad was like, I told my dad, this is a scene. I was like, my dad was like, we'll wait it out till morning. Like, she's talking and all, but like, ऐसे नहीं कि कुछ इतना खराब है. Like, no, let's take her. And we took her.
My grandfather has a very unique eye condition. Very rare. And anytime we get any tests done, even when he's sick, like at this point my father will be like, इसको डाल के देना GPT में, बताना क्या results हैं. And once I started doing that, वो trust मेरे में build हुआ. Now I get blood tests done every 3 months just to be on top of my health, right?
Same, huh?
Everything to the T. Like I spend 5,000-6,000 rupees every 3 months, test my body, every organ, right? And not only was I able to be like, अच्छा, there is a delta here for which I would have paid a doctor की boss मेरे को बताना कि इसमें क्या blood test ठीक नहीं आया, क्या नहीं आया. What are supplements that I can also consider? Acha, why are certain, जैसे vitamin D is a big one, right?
Yes.
All of us are deficient in vitamin D. All of us. Now, here is something I learned. No matter how much oral vitamin D I took, it's just not cutting it.
It will not move the needle beyond a point.
No. But the minute I found liposomal spray that goes under the tongue.
Interesting.
Bro, my vitamin D went from 10, 12 at a certain point, which is very low, to 50 in 3 months.
Crazy.
Which you will not find without injections. But I just found the right thing that works for my body, I guess. And this is an experimentation tracker if you don't have on the health side. I would have needed an expert, boss, for this kind of stuff. Right? And so being able to understand your body so quickly, I started dealing with some amount of health anxiety as a function of just growing up. I'm bada ho raha hu. You suddenly start thinking, ailments, right? Family history. For instance, sleep apnea is a big one.
Acha.
मेरी फैमिली में खर्राटे लेना एंड हैविंग अ वेरी लाइट स्लीप इज अ प्रॉपर थिंग एंड आई स्टार्टेड डेवलपिंग अर्ली सिम्टम्स ऑफ स्लीप एपनिया. स्लीप एपनिया इतना कॉम्प्लिकेटेड, इतना अंडर स्पोकन है. आई बेट पीपल लिसनिंग टू दिस पॉडकास्ट डोंट नो व्हाट स्लीप. वो उसे खर्राटे ही कहते हैं. मेरे पापा को आज तक नहीं पता उनको नींद इसलिए अच्छी नहीं आती क्योंकि उनको सांस नहीं आती, बिकॉज ऑब्स्ट्रक्टिव स्लीप एपनिया है. और ऑब्स्ट्रक्टिव स्लीप एपनिया और सेंट्रल नर्वस सिस्टम स्लीप एपनिया में कितना फर्क. Bro, suddenly I know everything. Like shit, पूरा research हो गया यार. Like, you know, and it also helps me not go into these spirals, because if you remember, पहले जब हम गूगल करते थे ना अपने symptoms, सर में दर्द हो रहा है, बैक में पेन है, आपको पक्का कोई मेजर बीमारी है, right? Like Google did not have that kind of precision until it has moved to LLM based search functions. And it's very interesting because you are also right about the fact कि हमेशा ना ऐसा नहीं होगा where the AI is encouraging you, you go do this stupid shit. Go. It'll tell you where you're wrong also. I don't think it does that job perfectly. I think the beauty I found of deep AI usage in some of the people I know use it a lot, their sense of judgment is very retained. वो ऐसा पढ़ के पागल नहीं बन जाते कि इसने ऐसा बोला तो ये सही ही होगा. They'll be like, nah, it got it wrong. So that sense of judgment is very retained. But overall, what I'm trying to think about here is that, talking to Varun, I said, Varun, what do you think about the psychological cost of everybody being in their own bubble, talking to their own AI all the time? He said, Prakhar, whether you like to believe it or not, we are all low-grade AI psychosis patients already. सबका कुछ ना कुछ ऐसा बिलीफ स्ट्रक्चर AI ने बना दिया है जो सिर्फ उनको प्राइवेटली लगता है सच है. तू मेरे को बोलता रहेगा, मैं मानूंगा ही नहीं, क्योंकि मेरे को AI ने कन्विंस कर दिया है ऑन दैट लेवल. एंड इट्स माइक्रो, इट्स नॉट डायग्नोस्टिक, ऐसा किसी को बीमारी नहीं है. बट दैट्स अ वेरी इंटरेस्टिंग POV too, that we all have more pronounced individuality, because this stuff is telling us, you are right, this confirmation, you're confirmed, go ahead, do this, right?
That's a great idea.
That's a great idea. I think it's a life-changing idea you've come across, Prakhar. Why don't
There's
you
a
do
word
this?
for this. I forgot the word. I'm terrible with this remembering of these words. This characteristic of AI has a word. Can't remember it.
Okay, sycophancy.
Sycophancy. Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
AI is sycophancy, and it's
Sycophantic.
Sycophantic. And it's so interesting कि AI and the most ideal engagement tactic that these companies who spent hundreds of billions of dollars had was चाटो. चाटो करता है, right? Like चमचागिरी करो, आदमी और जवाब देगा. There is a social clue in there. There's a social clue in there. We've known this from without AI also, कि समाज में चलता है this boot licking, right? AI confirms it because it's optimized for engagement.
It's the opposite.
अच्छा.
AI got it because of the society.
Sure. Right. In the sense that it still is the meta, the most effective tactical, right, shot at anything. So interesting. I've only mostly used GPT, some Grok, and Grok's kind of unhinged. But are Anthropic and Claude also sycophantic?
Everything is.
Achha, they're all
because they're
sycophantic.
fundamentally, the way they are trained, the core material is that. But there's a way to make it better by putting in instructions. All these apps have instructions. Core instruction that you can set up for whole of your product. The whole of ChatGPT के लिए तुम लोग define कर सकते हो instructions. वहाँ I always say, be the opposite of being nice. Tell me why I'm wrong. Right? Don't try to be nice. Don't try to convince me. Tell me the facts. So you write an instruction like that and you evolve over time. It gets better. It gets much, much better.
Got it. So how much of your life at this point is covered with AI? as an educator?
All of it.
Most of it.
All of it,
Or
yeah.
all of it.
All of it.
All of it. And there's no difference between most and all. ऐसा नहीं 90%. Like you were saying.
Anything that can be done with AI is being done with AI is all of it according to me.
Got it.
Now, can I sit and teach a Zoom session with 25,000 people live on it? It can't be done with AI today. So I do it.
Oh, got it.
But can I make a 20-minute video on YouTube without me shooting it? Yes, it can be done because an editing team, it's not live. So my editing team can edit it out nicely, even if my AI clone does it. So that is AI.
Got it. So you're teaching, the live stuff is, you're teaching it yourself, and a lot of the video stuff you can sort of offload. I see what
And
you're
this is example of content creation.
Right.
Right. Like you pick up anything that there is. It's mostly AI first at this point of time. From starting from, hey, like what's happening on my Slack? Again, like I said, 200 employees in a company on a Monday, Slack is a fucking mess. There'll be 1,000 messages.
Right.
And I'm tagged on everything because CCing Vaibhav is important. Right? Every team thinks CCing Vaibhav is important. So everybody CCs me for something that I don't need my attention of also.
Right.
So the way I use Slack is fundamentally different. My AI reads my Slack first and tells me what I should read. Then I read those things. Same goes with emails. If an unknown number calls me on my phone, I don't pick up. It's my AI agent that picks up my phone, talks, understands. And if it thinks it's worth it, then it does a offloading to me. If it's a known number, then it comes to me directly. If it's a number which is saved, then it
That's
comes to me
crazy,
directly.
Vaibhav. That's crazy. So मतलब मैं तेरे को अगर if I call you with an unknown number, I'm going to be speaking.
Right?
My phone's charging outside. Thankfully, I'm not excited to speak. Bro, I had this experience. I've said this on the podcast many times, but this was kind of shocking for me. I was in Vegas about 4-5 months ago. Get into the hotel. It's dead of the night. The room is smelling. So I'm like, boss, somebody needs to come clean this. Call reception, and I speak to this pleasant woman for 2 minutes. I'm like explaining, listen, it's been a long day. I need somebody to come in urgently and clean this. What is the smell like? I tell her what the smell is like. Where do you think it's coming from? I tell her where it's coming from. Okay, thank you so much. I'll send someone shortly. And as soon as I'm about to hang up, I realized this was not a real person. I just spent 2 minutes on the phone with a bloody AI.
Yeah.
And something in the end, like something that humans don't naturally say, gave it away कि कुछ तो गड़बड़ है. And I turned to Ansh and I'm like, this is wow. मतलब ट्यूरिंग टेस्ट तुम भूल ही जाओ, खत्म ना ट्यूरिंग टेस्ट, गेम ही ओवर हो गया ना.
वो कब का हो गया था?
हाँ मतलब
2 साल पहले ही खत्म हो गया
बट
था.
अब गिरिला लेवल पे कि मैं समाज में हूँ और समाज में दीवारें ट्यूरिंग टेस्ट पास कर रही हैं. लाइक यू नो द फीलिंग व्हेन यू एनकाउंटर इट इन अ लैब, इट्स वेरी डिफरेंट बिकॉज यू कैन से दिस इज अ यूनिकनेस. इन द वाइल्ड इज वेरी डिफरेंट एंड दिस इज गोइंग टू टेक अप all the service sector jobs.
Oh, BPO is dead.
BPO, customer
And
service.
this is not me saying by again, नीचे आ जाएंगे like the keyboard warriors.
Right.
Oh, ये कौन है जो बोल दिया, कभी कोड नहीं लिखा लाइफ में करके आ जाएंगे. But the reality is it's not me saying. Look at Vinod Khosla's conversation. Now, if you doubt, like, if you question the credibility of Vinod Khosla, then I don't know who you are and where you come from. So I'll not get into that debate. But
Right.
Vinod Khosla, yesterday, I was watching a podcast with Mint because he's in India right now, right? Said BPO is dead, IT sector is dead, financial sector is dead. Every large
pattern matching system.
Every large company in the country that operates on the economy of internet is fundamentally dead. It is still on to a point right now because adoption is slower, but adoption will happen in 3 years and it will be dead in 3 years.
तो वैभव कहाँ जाए भाई?
So वही तो मैं भी तेरे को वही तो like that is a question that nobody has an answer to.
Right. No,
Even
but like from your education POV, when you're teaching people, like what are you trying to do to help them? Because there has to be despair, right? Like despair, confusion, किसी भी तरीके से phrase कर लो. But कुछ तो करा जा सकता है. There is some place to go, no?
So that's
social level पे छोड़, individual level पे.
So that is what I recommend everyone. I say see, there is going to be a dystopian world and then there's going to be utopia. Is what I believe and a lot of people believe. And the reason why I believe this is because whenever this job loss happens and all of this happens, right, the world takes time to tweak itself, to figure out what needs to be done. But the world always figures it out, right? And this phase is going to be dystopian. And it is very likely to happen, or it's happening already because of speed. Now, in this dystopian space, who are the people who are going to win? People who are going to win are people who are going to orchestrate things. While I don't believe orchestration is a long-term win game because long-term we don't know what it's going to be. Nobody knows. But if you want to win the next 5-6 years, because that's all you can optimize for. at
वो
this
भी
point
बहुत
of
कह दिया
time.
तूने 2-3 साल में भी इज
नहीं,
लाइक
orchestration के लिए है
है, अच्छा, 5-6 साल है.
orchestration के लिए है,
हाँ.
right? I think the orchestration part will kick in a year from now.
Okay.
Because it has only happened to code to an extent right now. Because there's a lot of building phase figuring out that's happening. Tech is there. Adoption is taking time. Right? So I think 5 years. I believe 5 years is where orchestrators will win. So optimize for these 5 years.
And so what you then eventually end up teaching a lot of your students is
How
orchestration.
to orchestrate. Well.
Acha.
So
That's
is
your
what I
USP.
say. That is what I say, become a generalist.
हाँ.
Right?
Right.
What is a generalist? When you're thrown a problem at you, you need to figure out a way to solve it. And you cannot say, I'm not a software engineer.
Right.
You cannot say, I'm not a product manager. You cannot say, I'm not a designer. It's your bloody problem to solve it. So use AI to solve it. And how do you do that? When you have access to the right AI tools, when you know what is AI capable of, which AI is capable of what, how to build agents, how to vibe code, how to build rags. And for any of these things, you don't need to be a developer. So anyone in the world who can use internet, who has common sense, will be able to do it. It's an adoption problem. So get out of that silo that you're living in saying sab changa si. It is not the case. Come out and put in the effort is what we say. Just
Right.
in case the dystopia and the utopia doesn't happen, well, you're still fine.
Right.
In case it happens, well, you have a winning hand. How do I make you that 1 out of 10 who will survive this game is what we optimize for. Because I can only increase your odds. I can't make you win.
Yeah, of course. Right. So what you're teaching basically when students come to you, pehle is tool use. And then you are going into more advanced situations like vibe coding, agent, banana, and this kind of stuff. Yeah. And then you're building a collection. And is that the offering key? Then by the time you leave this educational situation, you have it.
You get the context. See, again, we don't say that everybody who goes through this will win. People who execute are the people who will win. Right? हम बस पढ़ा सकते हैं. तुमको execute भी करना पड़ता है. So what do? We basically say you have to become an AI generalist. Here is a 5-step roadmap. There are 5 levels to it. Level 1, you learn basics of tool use. Which AI tool to use, where do you use ChatGPT, where do you use Claude, where do you use Gemini, where do you use a Notebook LM, where do you use an N8N, where do you use a Replit versus a Cursor versus an anti-gravity. All the tool stack that you have, build your own AI toolkit. That is level number 1. Right? You get surface to tools, right tools in the right place. That is basic. Level 2 is doing the same beyond text. Get your hang around images, videos, audio and everything around it, because as a generalist, your game is not confined to only one set. It could be any problem that could be thrown at you. So get a hang of that part. That is the foundation. On level 3, we say, look, you've figured out how to prompt, you've figured out how to use AI tools and everything. In level 3, you should get into the building zone. How can you automate things that you do on an everyday level, which you don't want to do? Let's say you don't want to check your emails. Let's say you don't want to respond to the calls. Let's say you don't feel like making a call to anyone. You don't want to order pizza. It doesn't matter what it is. There are 10 things that you do, 7 things that you don't enjoy. How do you automate it? Well, there you learn things around MCPs, Model Context Protocol, or where you learn around how to build projects, how to build RAG systems, right? Things like that, or how to build basic N8N automations or basic Zapier or Make automations, which can automate things for you, right? And you can do all of this without code. You don't need to be a developer for any of this, right? That is level 3. Once you have understood automation still needs you to come in and say, hey, do this for me. How can you automate it without you saying anything? Is an agent.
Right.
It does end-to-end task. So in level 4, where we say, learn how to use agentic software and also learn how to build your own AI agents. How can you use a tool like Lindy? How can you use a tool like N8N again to build agents, or Opal right now, or any of the agent tools out there? There's a problem that you want AI to do. How can you build an agent for that? Today, the worlds of open class opened up, which is absolutely bonkers, right?
Actually, tell me a little more about that, because that looked a little bonkers when I first saw it.
I'll show you also.
Sure. Right.
That's level 4. And level 5 is finally vibe coding. How can you productize stuff that can work beyond you as well? So these are the 5 levels we basically say people to cover. What we can do in our sessions at scale with tens of thousands of people on them is we directionally tell them, we teach them a few and we give them a roadmap. Now, people who actually win are not the ones that take our learnings and say, thank you so much, this was helpful. People who win are eventually who learn from what we say, take the roadmap and continue their learning. they are the people who will win. But that's what we do on a high level.
That's very interesting.
Yeah. So this is what we feel is a full stack AI first problem solver can do. And we have seen enough. And our employees are our guinea pigs to start with. They've been doing incredible work right now.
Right.
Right. And yeah.
My question, मेरे को दिमाग में आता है ये कि see, the adoption problem is effectively a trust problem, right? और trust से भी ज़्यादा, it's a lowest hanging fruit kind of problem. Like, if somebody saw the benefit they could get with the lowest amount of effort, the likelihood of them adopting it increases quite a bit.
Not every time.
Acha, that's not the case every time.
Not every time. I'll tell you a case when it's not every time, but yeah, go on.
Right. What I'm trying to understand is, for most people that are watching, either they work a job or they have some kind of a freelance self-ownership kind of a thing. Right? What's the easiest possible thing in your experience they can do to get ROI on that experiment?
I think the easiest thing that you can do right now is take a paper out, write down 10 things that you do every day, which takes 80% of your time, right? And just take a picture of that and upload that inside of Gemini and say, hey, based on today's technology, and please turn on the pro mode on Gemini, it's free anyways. So, or ChatGPT or whatever, whichever AI tool you use, upload that picture and say, look, these are the things that I do, which takes up 80% of my time. Based on the technology that exists today in AI, what are the things that I can automate? You will see 80% of the things that you write, no matter who you are and what you do, 70 to 80% for most of us, ChatGPT or Gemini will give you an answer saying these are the things that you can automate and this is what you need to do. Take one at a time. You don't need me. You don't need this podcast. You have, see, the beauty of the world that we are living in is content is democratized.
Right.
Knowledge is everywhere.
Right.
We are just not seeking for it.
Right.
Right? So you just do this. Is this very hard to do? Not really.
No.
Right? Just do this. And the moment you get point number 1 and you get a description, you're like, oh, this is interesting. I want to go deep into it. Copy the whole thing, paste it back into ChatGPT and say, give me all the bloody resources out there which can help me to teach this. In fact, it's better if you go to Gemini because Gemini has access to YouTube. Right? This is what it is. Make me a list of YouTube videos so that I can learn this and automate this. You'll get a bunch of YouTube videos. And when you're trying to implement something, if you get stuck somewhere, go to Google AI Studio. You can share your screen, say that, hey, this is how my screen looks like. I got stuck. I'm not able to set this up. Tell me what needs to be done. There's an AI tutor on the other end, which will literally tell you, click on this button, tap on that button, fix this up for me, fix this, do this, and it'll fix things for you. If you're a slightly advanced user, I would not even do it. I will just message it to my Jerry, which is my executive assistant, which will figure it out itself by opening its own browser and doing everything for me.
And Jerry is your tech
Executive assistant, which is OpenClaw right now.
Right.
Which is OpenClaw right now. I just switched it to OpenClaw. Before this, it was on NA10. But NA10 now
And where is your assistant? Is it on your
Slack.
phone? Oh, on Slack. Okay. Okay. Oh, so theek hai. Acha. Interesting. And it has agency enough to go outside Slack and wherever else as well?
Yeah. I've given it full control.
And you've used what device for that?
What do you mean?
Like it must be ported on a device, na? Yeah.
So it's on my Mac.
It's on your Mac.
It's on my Mac Mini.
Right.
A lot of people for OpenClaw take a different Mac Mini. I've been a little braveheart here and I said I'll put it on my main Mac Mini. Let's see what happens. But right now the Mac Mini runs all the time. And sometimes I just make sure open TeamViewer to see if I'm away, to see it's not doing anything nasty inside.
That's crazy.
But yeah, I've trusted a little more than what I should. But I was like, क्या ही हो जाएगा? ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा ट्वीट लिख देगा.
कैंसिल हो जाएगा तू यार.
कैंसिल हो जाएगा.
ऐसे मत होने देंगे. कहीं लिख दिया सॉफ्टवेयर इंजीनियर्स का कुछ नहीं रखा. कैंसिल. नेक्स्ट डे टेक ट्विटर कैंसिल कर देगा. But that's crazy, bro. तो मतलब your PC is operating on its own all the time.
Yeah. Not all the time.
मतलब
Only
to
when
the
I
extent.
So most of the things are automated basis of what I want. Like Slack is my biggest time monger. So that is automated. Every 3 hours it sends me a message saying, hey, I check Slack and these are the things that I found. Nothing to worry about. You can continue your work. So that's what it says. Unless there is something important that I have to attend. Right? It checks my emails. Right? If I have to talk to someone and I'm too lazy or they're not picking up my phone, I call you. You don't pick. I offload it to my AI saying, keep calling Prakhar and pass this message till Prakhar actually responds back. You can see Jerry has just messaged me something. It's proactive, by the way. It messages me proactively. So it has sent me a message. Oh, Slack scan. I told you, right? It does a Slack scan. Don't read things out.
No. Acha.
Every 3 hours, it's proactively sends me a
Wow.
message.
So it's basically given all the important details that you must attend to in your Slack in one message, so that you have a compression of information. You don't have to read through
This is
infinite
one
stuff,
thing.
right?
This is one thing. So yesterday, one of the use case was I was in the India AI Summit, and I wanted someone to kind of talk to, and we were supposed to meet. And I was realizing that, he will call me, I will not pick up, and then I'll call him, he will not pick up.
Because you're both AI agented.
No. Like, because we are in the India AI Summit and
sure.
it's a mess and whatever. So I just said, till this person picks up, keep calling him and tell him that I'm at the Meta booth. Till he acknowledges the message, keep calling him. He got the call 7 times. He got the call 7 times from my AI. And it outright says, it sounds like me, but my AI outright says that, hey, I'm Vaibhav's AI executive assistant. So I'm not trying to be Vaibhav. Like,
Right.
and it says, hey, Vaibhav is in the Meta booth. He would love to see you there. And he'll be there for the next couple of hours. Right? First time he picked up, he could not understand something, or he said something and he cut down because he thought it's me. And then it again called back to him. I think it called like 5-6 times, and then finally, and it was going from my international number because it doesn't go from my number.
Right.
So it finally picks up and it says, Vaibhav, this is Vaibhav's AI executive assistant. Please come into the Meta booth. And that guy was like, yeah, I'll be there. And it stopped calling. So these are very small things if you think about it.
Sure.
But it can do almost everything. That's what I'm trying to say. Let's say before your podcast, right? Before we do this, I was like, look, like, what are the things that are not spoken about? Are there things that I should speak about based on the things that have happened? So it did a research for me and gave me a bunch of things.
Like, for instance?
That, like the GDP index that I told you,
Sure.
GDP val. The GDP val had a big difference right now. That happened yesterday. So I was out. I was not aware. So it pinged me saying, bro, GDP val numbers have gone up by 300 points. You should talk about it.
And so your project knows what you've spoken of in all your media appearances?
Not the project. This is... so these assistants, these agents are 100 times or 20, 30 times more complicated than, or more advanced than a project.
Okay.
Right? So
you have an agent that goes out and collects all your media presence and what you said.
I have done it once.
You've
and
done
I
it
stored it in the memory.
You stored it in the memory.
Correct.
And now what happens is that it takes the proper set of all things you can say versus the things you've said already, and then tells you what the differential is.
Yes. And it also has told me what I should not say in my podcast.
Like, for instance, what
for getting cancelled. Like, there's like, listen, if you're quoting something, quoting a number, make sure you quote that it's not yours.
Right, okay.
So proactively, before this also I used to say it, but it will come in the end or it will come in the beginning. And तुम लोग जब काट के क्लिप डालते हो वो नहीं डालोगे तुम
लोग हम लोग सब साथ में बैठते हैं हम लोग कि वैभव को कैसे
अरे भाई नहीं like
I know what you mean. I know what you mean.
When you make a 30-second clip,
right,
you optimize for the space.
Right.
And you don't think of your editor is not thinking of that. Oh, this clip will get cancelled out.
Yeah, right.
So I have to think about it. And I'm not Sam Altman that my policy team is sitting behind my ass saying that I want to see every clip that goes out.
Right.
And a content will go out without that little nuance of context.
And it'll cause all the trouble.
It'll cause all the trouble. And it has caused all the trouble so far.
Oh, you've had that.
Yeah, I mean, not that bother. It affects me. But I'm like, my girlfriend was like, just be a little reassuring. No?
Right.
Just say that it's not you. It's Vinod Khosla saying, and say it 3 times.
Yeah. Right.
Just say that, just outright say, if you're quoting based on GDP val, you're thinking that you're quoting based on GDP val, but just remember it and say it. And these are all nice little instructions that have come in from my PR.
Give me some...
which is an AI.
Yeah, at this point, I'm not certain if I'm sitting with you at all. But bro, you actually do live in the future. Like, frankly, I have used artificial intelligence. I know some people who use it to quite an extent, but I think you're really maxing. You're AI maxing.
I would like to... I think I'm AI maxing for who I am.
Yeah,
as
for
a
sure.
non-software engineer.
Of course.
So I do a lot of things that I possibly can. But I think a lot more can be done. If I was an engineer, I would have been able to do a lot more.
Right.
But I get my software engineers to help me.
Is there any value in the future world for degrees and education in this case? Because I would suppose so, right? ऐसा तो नहीं है ना कि
I
मतलब
don't think there's value for degrees and certificates even today. What is valuable is the experience that you go through.
Right.
So I went into 4 years of college. Right, I didn't go through a great college, like not an IIT or anything like that. That's what I mean. Not by a very well-known college. You went to Columbia, if I'm not wrong. Right. I don't know your reflection of that, but I've always heard you speak education of very highly.
Yeah.
Right?
I'm a huge fan.
I know. But I'll tell you that I don't diss education. I don't say anyone not to go into education or not to do education, not because, or I never say not to go through this experience of education, purely because it teaches you more than the books.
Sure.
Books have not taught me anything. Even before AI era. Forget about AI era. I don't think my 10th, 11th, 12th has helped me with anything that I've done so far. I think school education is different. I don't know how it has helped me, but I'm sure it has helped me in some form or fashion that I can't understand. Engineering is when I'm capable enough to know how it has helped me, and it has not helped me in any way of what I've studied. Right? Maybe the only thing that has helped me is code deke darta nahi hu because software engineer, computer science engineer hu. Doesn't mean I've written code.
Right.
That's the only trait that has given me, but that didn't need 4 years of engineering. But what it gave me is exposure. What it gave me is how to manage people. What it taught me is how I can be with myself independently. What it taught me is that I can take bets. What it taught me is how to make friends. What it built me is a network of incredible people that I can still rely on. Right? Those things cannot happen without a college. It teaches you life.
Sure.
It's not so much about the books. It never was. Now this is education in India.
Right.
Right.
It's gamified and I get the frustration. अगर भाई देखो कोई भी कॉलेज से इंडिया से निकलता है, स्कूल से निकलता है, हमें पता है वो हम पढ़ाई करते थे एग्जाम देने के लिए. The minute that thing happens, once you're mature, you look back, you're like ये तो गेम है यार. पढ़ाई तो करा ही नहीं, एग्जाम देने के लिए कर रहे थे. अब कोई आदमी इस इंसेंटिव से करता है कि सिर्फ पास होना है, कोई कहता है कि यार थोड़े अच्छे ग्रेड्स लाने. But that's the
and
difference.
Also one interesting thing that I've seen with education is that ऐसे नहीं कि there's a correlation of your grades to your outcomes in life.
It's really not true. हाँ कि मतलब it's variable. ऐसा जरूरी नहीं है. I know some really backbenchers who've done phenomenal work and some frontbenchers who've gone backbencher territory. Right?
Yes. Again, I'm not quoting. See, most of the things that we speak about education goes into dustbin when you're talking about the top 2% or top 1%. Like there is no way to kind of even debate that, hey, if you are going through an IIT, IIM, MIT, Columbia, Stern, whatever, Harvard, Stanford, there the game is different. I don't think we will ever be able to have this debate saying that it's not worth it. I think it's always going to be worth it because of pure density of incredible people. That's it, period. Right? I think that is invaluable, according to me. But anything below that, when you go to the 5%, 10%, below 10%, I still think everybody should go through the whatever that percent is. You should still go through it. But you should be clear about what you're getting out of it.
यार education में ना पता है, I think for India, Gaurav Munjal changed my view when I heard him speak on a podcast, and he explained, it's like, there is only one game that promises social mobility in India.
Degrees.
डिग्री, क्योंकि वो डिग्री becomes a permission slip for you to be like कि चाहे मैं बिल्कुल ही कर्नाटका के एक विलेज से आया हूँ, I can apply to a multinational corporation in Gurgaon or in Bangalore, get that job, socially move up. And whether people like it or not, because the tech crowd tends to be very philosophical, whether people like it or not, fundamentally life is about status. And so if a person sees, I as a father see कि मेरे बच्चे को status acceleration मिलेगा, there is no way I will not tell them to go to college. Everything else, if you've ever been friends with athletes in school, जो बच्चे क्रिकेट या बैडमिंटन अच्छा खेलते हैं, they make this very clear distinction at a certain point कि मेरे को खेलना है या मेरे को पढ़ना है.
Yeah.
And the reason is because even though sports में अगर आप top 1% या 0.01% बने, तो your life is set beyond any पढ़ाई. But the odds that you will get that, very low. पढ़ाई के साथ, if you're able to manage a degree and get through to even a simple company that does a simple job and you are a simple accountant in that company, your social status guaranteed accelerates more.
He's right. And that is true. Like if you want to get into a TCS, Wipro, Cognizant, Accenture, blah, 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 all of that, they have that tick box that you need to have a degree. Right? But they will not exist 3 years from now in the way they do. If they continue to operate with this framework of degree being that, why did they have to have that? You have to go back to the genesis of why these things existed. Because in a country like ours, there are millions of people who want a job.
Right.
And you cannot have such a wide funnel. You cannot interview so many people. So how do you reduce the funnel of your inflow? By putting barriers.
Right.
So this became a barrier right now.
Right.
It's a terrible barrier.
Qualification criteria.
It's a terrible barrier.
Right.
Now, if you think about these companies, the reason why people generalized careers to top 5 IT companies was because they were were the biggest hirers in the country. But in the last 12 months, do you know how many net employees have these companies added? Top 5 companies in India together.
I have no idea, but I don't think it's a big number. Like 0, negative?
17.
17.
17.
So like
Top
inflow,
5.
outflow मिला के 17.
Net. That's why. Like outflow plus inflow
Right.
is net.
हाँ.
17. 17. Top 5 IT companies. I will not name them. You know what they are.
Yeah.
These were the mass recruiters.
हाँ, जो कॉलेज में जाके जिनमें बच्चे उम्मीद करते हैं कि यहाँ तो होगा ही होगा. Right.
उनका funnel dry हो गया है उधर. Right. What are you optimizing for?
Yeah.
Boss, you are not living in a world of tick boxes anymore. So will I still say you should go into education? I will still say you should go into education because when you're that young, you don't know what you want to do.
Right.
So this gives you direction
Buffer.
in some form or fashion.
Right.
You go through the 4 years of experience without your parents around. In fact, I recommend everyone to go to a hostel.
Right.
Right? Because the world that you live in is different. You should be as far away from your parents and your comfort zone as possible because you learn life. But you should optimize your time. Doesn't matter which college you're in. Content, information, knowledge is democratized. Everything is out there for free. So play your Counter-Strike, watch your Netflix. You have 4 years to chill, but do something with your time. Build things because this is the era of builders. Everybody in the world can build right now. Use your time when you're in college to build stuff. Fail. Look, I think for anyone to succeed, they have to fail at least 50 times. Micro, macro, big, small failures all together. If you're not failed enough, there is no way you'll succeed. Even if you succeed, that will turn into failure. So, increase your failures when you're in college.
बहुत सही बात कह रहा है भाई.
So, by the time you come out of college, you have seen what failure looks like. It doesn't hurt you. And your odds of winning just goes up.
You know what my view on education, particularly from my experiences, क्योंकि कोलंबिया जाने से पहले मैं CA student था. ठीक है? And
CS is?
CA, Chartered Accountant.
Oh.
I was a Chartered Accountant
Nice.
student, right? And had I not gotten into an Ivy League university, I would have probably finished.
Right.
But मेरा complaint day one से, और for whatever reason I was a little more first principle, I was like, एक बात बताओ, तुम मेरे marks, जैसे स्कूल में accounts पढ़ते थे, तुम calculation के marks काट कैसे सकते हो मेरे? How can you punish me for calculation when a calculator has been invented? Why would I be punished for arithmetic that I can do in my head? Right? And so these exams that value how you pass or fail will get gamified along कि ये incentive है तो plus है, ये disincentive है तो negative है.
Yeah.
Right? I found a lot of beauty in reading a wide variety of subjects that opened my mind for the first time.
What did you study?
So my core education was in psychology and economics, but I did the 3 Idiots route where I sat in religion,
Every random
film.
class,
हाँ, क्योंकि free है, अंदर जाके बैठना free है, right?
Hmm.
So I studied physics, I studied biology, which I would have never studied. I'm an accounting student, right? I studied religion, anthropology, I studied mathematics. Bro, I took advanced courses in mathematics I would have never taken.
You got the ROI, man.
So I was like कि मैं जाके बैठ जाता हूँ, and they offer some very interesting classes. Liberal arts side पे ना, to help you learn how to think. That end. Why I'm mentioning this is, in hindsight, I wish I'd started building sooner. See, I started building in college. I did, and even still, I wish I was like 5 years younger. Because 5 years compounding is insanity.
Yes.
मतलब 5 साल, if you and I sit and compound on the thing we are building, it's insanity what can happen.
Yeah.
And you're right, you take 50 failures, no matter how smart you are, no matter how well positioned you are, you take 50 failures that most people don't see. It happens silently before you're like, अब मेरे को तो समझ आने लगा है. Right? And so life is such a long fight in any which case. You get also very bored of exploring in the way that college students spend for the first 4-5 years. And then you want to do something.
Because you have nothing to lose during college, no?
Right.
That is the beauty.
Right.
I think it's the best bloody time.
In so many ways it is.
Yeah.
Right. There is, पहले ऐसा होता था ना, जब when you meet older people, they'd be reminiscing about college and you're in college, you're like, इतना क्या fight है यार, like, you know, and then you're older and you're like, man, they were so right. था तो कुछ
Now you're the older people.
Right. Now you're the older people, you hit 30, like your unk status. And you look back, you're like, यार सही बात है. मतलब, truly if I could tell somebody in college or school what they should do is they should enjoy it more.
Yeah.
Right. Such a value.
Oh, I had written a note on this.
Huh.
I was like, I worked too much during my college.
Achha, you.
I had 3 startups during my college.
Oh, wow.
Right? It failed. I started one more. That failed. I started one more. I was bloody working all the time, not going to classes and all. So I like when after 4 years when I had to write a note on, like, somebody asked me this question in one of the talks and I had to think, I was like, I wish, man, I'd gone out for the dinner with my friends. Because now I don't have the time. Then I did.
That's very interesting. I sometimes think the opposite.
Yeah.
I wish I started early. And this is the nature of humanity. हमारी psychology
We are
is
never
programmed.
happy.
We are never happy, right?
Yeah.
मतलब और मैं पता है ये कह इसलिए पाता हूँ क्योंकि मैंने अपने जी लिया भाई. जो आदमी when I see my colleagues who are now successful because they worked in media or tech and then they're spending money having fun, you realize कि इसने अपना पूरा 20s काम किया. अब ये मिड 30s में है तो अभी समझता है कि मैं पैसा फेंक के कभी तो जवानी जी लूँ, अदरवाइज तो वो निकल जाएगी. I had the exact opposite experience कि I had so much fun. मैंने जितनी भी मन की इच्छा है ना, like if my wife ever asks me where do you want to go travel, I'm like I've seen whatever I wanted to see. Right now I just want to build. And so I exhausted that bit where no extra dinner with my friends is going to make me happy. I'm sick of my friends. बहुत शक्ल देखी. However, in the 7 years that I lived abroad, I didn't live close to my family. So every extra dinner with my family makes me happy. Nice. And this is human nature. Now, whatever you don't
Everybody's
have,
trying to find a balance.
right?
Man.
Whatever
Their
you don't
balance
have,
is
right?
different. Yes.
Right. But it is true. I also graduated in 22. ठीक है? College से. That is the year ChatGPT hits. And so my education is pre-GPT. मेरे पास ऑप्शन नहीं था कि मेरा ऐसे कोई और लिख दे. And I had to write that essay. And I swear to God, bro, जो चीज राइटिंग करती है ना आदमी के दिमाग को और सोचने को शार्पन करने के लिए, I don't think anything is thought of until you've written it.
Completely.
Right? I am very skeptical of the fact कि तुम अपनी राइटिंग डेलीगेट कर दो. स्पेशली राइटिंग फॉर राइटिंग सेक. अगर तुम्हें कॉलेज ऐसे लिखना है या तुम्हें एक पेपर बनाना है या तुम्हें एक ईमेल नोट लिखना है जो तुम्हें कंपनी वाइड सर्कुलेट करना है जिसमें तुम्हारे ओरिजिनल थॉट्स हैं, आई डोंट थिंक यू शुड डेलीगेट दैट. आई थिंक यू शुड राइट इट.
I think I'll tell you why it has become 10 times better for writing using AI while you write it yourself, because there are two things of writing, right? One is that how you write, how you craft it. That's a skill that very few people have. The thing that I think the reason why everybody should write is because that pushes you to think harder.
Yes.
Right? That thinking harder can still happen. In fact, the thinking harder can become 10x better with AI. That's what I'm saying, right? If you were writing that essay, did you speak with 10 different friends?
Well, you go to 10 different sources, you read 10 different things, you come up with opinions, you synthesize them.
No,
like
once you had an opinion, did you put that opinion in front of a friend saying, "Yaar, what do you think of this? What is?"
It depends on which context we are talking about. मतलब अगर मैं एक जनरल ऐसे लिख रहा हूँ तो मैं शायद पूछ सकता हूँ, बट अगर मैं कॉलेज ऐसे लिख रहा हूँ तो वो तो मेरे फ्रेंड को क्या पता क्लास में बात क्या हो रही है कि वो उसको evaluate भी करता है ना.
I'll go back to an example that everybody would relate to, or at least most of them would. Like, let's say I have to put a Slack message, like because you took the example of Slack message. Right. I get AI to do it. But it starts with a voice note into my Claude or ChatGPT or Gemini or OpenClaw or whatever. It starts with a voice note saying, look, this is what I want to say. This is how I'm thinking. These are my raw thoughts. Help me organize this. And also, as you organize this, also tell me what are the downsides of this. Will this affect a set of people that it should not affect? Should I smoothen it out in a few places?
Right.
So that, because you are doing, like right now, if I put a tweet out, it still goes out right now. But that tweet is PR vetted to a point where my thoughts are going out, but it's not offending people also.
Right.
So I'm like, every time I put something out, I write it, I put my voice note out, and I say that, look, I'm going to put this on Twitter. Will this create problems? Or will this bother a few people? Will this lead to negativity? If that is the case, why? And how can I smoothen it out while putting my word out?
Wow.
Right? So it does help. I mean, unless you are someone who's like, no, I want to put it raw, which is fine.
No, I meant more in the sense of if you're given base writing work, एक बार उसको खुद लिखने से जो clarity आती है ना, but in my head is whatever. It's emotions, it's some ideas, but on a nebulous रहता है. Once you put it on paper, this is at
or
least,
you type it, yes.
Or you type it, which is what paper means. What really happens is वो thought organize हो जाता है. उसके बाद उसकी polishing और वो सब के लिए
exactly that is what I do as well. I do it on voice note and you do it in typing. Like, it's thinking.
Actually, voice notes also. Like, most of my AI consumption is voice, where I speak to it and it sends me text back.
Yes.
Right. Yeah. That's the best way because I can. Otherwise, दिमाग में इतना जंबल रहता है. Once I start speaking, it organizes itself in my head.
I mean, quite frankly, I use a tool called Whisper Flow. I don't know if you've heard of it.
I have heard of it. I don't know what it does.
It's magic, right? It's voice to text. So on my computer, I just put a function tab and space bar. I have my earphones plugged in, and I'm walking and I'm talking, and it takes all that information that I'm talking condenses that into nicer format, and just pastes it.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
No, but
That's
this
a
is
lot,
very
huh?
popular right now. I think it's a no-brainer, right? And for us who have like on a phone, I'm sure you use a lot of voice notes.
Sure, yeah.
Right? It's very instinctive on our computer as well, but we never used it because dictation is terrible.
Huh.
The tech of dictation has been terrible.
Right.
But companies like Whisperflow and all are coming, which are working purely on small language models, which are optimized for transcription, and it's beautiful. It's beautiful. So I would go on my LinkedIn. Let's say I've got a message from someone saying, hey, I was supposed to get this email from your team and I've not got it. I get a lot of those messages because of the scale that we operate at. Email spam mein chala gaya, wo bol raha hai, bhai mujhe email nahi hai, kya karu? So it's the same standard reply I have to give every time. So I just put a function button and I just say support response.
And it just
Autofills the whole thing. You remember the text autofillers, right? Now it's happening via voice. My LinkedIn URL fills up my LinkedIn URL, actually https:/linkedin.com/in. Same goes with, if I say my social handles, all my social handles, it autofills that. So little things, but it saves up time. And I think when it comes to context, a lot of times also this happens with me. I don't know if it happens with you, that as I type, I forget what I'm typing. So I have some thoughts that I want to type out. But as I start, first point, second point लिख लिया, third point भूल गया दिमाग में क्या था. But with voice, because it's so fresh and words per minute that you can type is like 30-40 words per person. But voice is 250. So it's 6 times more efficient.
Right.
So your context window, it helps your context window as well.
Right.
But yeah, anyways, Whisper is quite cool. So any of those tools, a bunch of them. Any of these tools are quite cool.
Nice. What else are you thinking about these days?
What else am I thinking about these days? Yeah, I barely think about anything except for AI these days, quite frankly. Again, right, like I told you, the reason why we spoke so much about health is because grandmom, father, ye sab chal raha hai, so that is one.
But that's it. Work and AI, huh?
Work and family, and that's pretty much.
Tends to be like that for men.
Yeah.
After a certain. How old are you now?
31.
31. 31 as of? Like your birthday's already been this year? Ye bhi aayega?
September.
So 31 running into 32. Yeah.
Fuck you.
Well, man, I just turned 30 myself. मतलब मैं कोई अलग boat पे
That's why I
नहीं.
stopped at 30 and then I was like, you'll
इसके
question
बाद सब
me.
सेम है भाई.
You will question
इसके
me.
बाद सब सेम है. Please. इसके बाद सब सेम है. 31, 32 कुछ नहीं होता. सब 30 होता है.
उसके बाद डायरेक्टली 40 आता है.
उसके directly 40 आता है 10 साल बाद. Context window. That's crazy, bro. This has been a good chat, man. We should do this again sometime. Yeah. How long have we been talking? 1 hour 40 minutes.
Nice.
Yeah. Did you feel like the time passed?
Yeah, it was quick.
Yeah. Good stuff, man. It's a lot of information. Frankly, I'm just realizing how much there is to do with AI. Like, even myself who uses so much, and I know so many people who use so much, like listening to you, I'm like, fuck, काफी कुछ किया.
What are the top things that you use AI for?
Mostly thinking. Most of my job is either strategy or research, right? Both of which are purely intellectual jobs. And so it's mostly, this is what I'm thinking, what's wrong with this? This is what I'm thinking, what's wrong with this? If we do this, run a simulation and tell me, right?
Have you come across this, a Chinese company? They launched a AI model which simulates human decision making. So let's say you have to take a decision and you don't know what the repercussions are going to be. Let's say I have to take a decision in my company. There are 200 people. I don't know what the repercussions will be because everybody has their own kind of repercussions on any decision that you take, right? This one.
Simile.
Simile. Yeah. It simulates human behavior. So it basically runs a simulation ecosystem with a lot of AI humans, takes those decisions in to see what will be the impact of it, and eventually gives you a report that, based on this human simulation, what you're thinking is right or wrong. Let's say if you want to simulate, this is too big of a simulation to be done, but let's say, can universal basic income work in India?
Right. So it does the multi-order human simulation. Oh shit.
Yeah.
कि पहले yoga, फिर yoga, फिर yoga.
I was thinking that this is the only thing that might not be able to work because someone has to simulate. These simulation experiments, every country, every government does it, right? But it needs such a massive infra, like they give it to a McKinsey, PwC or someone to be able to do it.
Right.
Right? But now there's a Chinese company which is doing it.
Yeah.
I saw the video. I don't know why it's not. Maybe this is not the actual website. I don't know. I saw the video, or just look for this video. It's wild. But again, you said simulation, so it.
So generally that is what I'm doing. So for me, I found more utility in being able to express जो मेरे साथ हो रहा है कि मैं उसको टाइप या वॉइस में डाल दूँ, उसी से बहुत क्लैरिटी आ जाती है, and then there is a bouncing partner, otherwise you would not have had. Research fairly simple on any of these, but उसके beyond very little, like management. So to some extent you can think of setting up systems managerially, उसमें कुछ help हो सकता है तो, but very little. What else?
So you're not using in your content. You're not using AI in your work per se.
I mean, yeah, sure, but it's not me directly using it. Then my organization's using it. They're bringing up scripts, for instance. Say, मेरे को पता है, we cracked this system of creating a 50 million view funnel on Instagram, which is completely AI, except I have to record. I think the betting is in two directions. Either you bet on the direction that all content will be AI, and you do AI avatars or AI morphs, like that's becoming very popular, or you realize कि at the edges, personality will win. So power law create होता है, and if you stand out, then people will value your personality even more. And so from a career POV, we pick the personality route. उसके पीछे और भी reasons हैं. I think if people know it's AI, value alignment कम हो जाता है.
No, by the way, just to tell you, I have not picked a side here.
हाँ, right.
I create content using AI because that's the only way I can create content.
And that's also your business. Like, it's very aligned with your value. You or Varun, both of yours values.
Actually, I'm not thinking on the science at all. So my directional thinking was, if you remember, all of us started content creation at the same time,
Right.
in some form or fashion during pandemic.
Right.
We all met, and Raj, you, me.
Right.
We've had that conversation in Raj's podcast as well about you, me.
I saw.
Right? You guys, you went into education. You found your way in content. You're extremely good at it, right? So is Raj. He's phenomenal at it. And people took their directions. I took the business building route. And because of that, I was not able to create content at all. While we all started with content.
Right, I see what you mean.
Right? I didn't have the time to do it, or this was never my P0. So AI enabled me to put my thoughts out there in a format that works for people.
I see. For scaling purposes, we've thought क्या हमें AI avatar flooding करनी चाहिए, because and this is like way before, और पहले की बात करो, and we were like hypothetically running it. हमारे केस में, if you're becoming an influencer, which is not the influencer of the old time, influencer as in somebody who was influenced, which is a huge thing by the way, उस केस में आपको ओरिजिनल रहना पड़ेगा.
Correct.
हाँ, क्योंकि अगर आपकी शक्ल नहीं दिखेगी, आपके इमोशंस नहीं दिखेंगे, people will not align themselves with your values, and therefore you don't build any influence. You may build an audience.
I agree.
And in content creation as a profession, I think one of the missing differences is what influence do you have versus what audience do you have, and they're not the same anymore, right? Or वो influence building, which has a 10-year long ROI, is not the same as audience building, because that has only platform ROI. So we went over this discussion. I was at network school in Malaysia, and I was talking to a bunch of people about this, because it's such a vibrant tech environment, and that's when we were having this conversation कि AI avatar वाली side पे you can actually get a lot of information across. If you're doing a news channel, AI is best because you need speed. वहाँ पे use case different है. But if you're doing a podcast and all my questions are done by AI for Vaibhav, then I'm not different from almost anybody else.
Absolutely.
Except I learned a bunch of new things about how you can prompt yourself better. I do think, however, बहुत जगह use होता है. So we were designing a titling test कि हम अपने titles किस तरीके से experiment करके we arrive at some kind of an optimization strategy. That strategy would have taken us a day or two to build in terms of किस पॉइंट पे कितना चेक मार्क होगा, तो क्या ट्रिगर होगा जिससे हम अब टाइटल चेंज करें और उसको किस डायरेक्शन में ले जाएं. What I've realized about content is generally it's very what's the word, you're playing with the average IQ of people. 4-5 ही चीज़ें इस पे लोग रिस्पॉन्ड करते हैं, 4-5 ही फॉर्मेट्स हैं. If you give AI enough context, it will set the strategy that can be executed on its own. What I learned today is I can probably also automate this.
Yeah.
So that AI checks itself what is happening after 24 hours instead of somebody manual doing it.
Yeah.
And that's the evolution I'm realizing from this conversation. But इस level पे use होता है. So a lot of it is just text usage. We haven't done agentic or vibe coding usage because it's not been very important. But today I'm realizing कि काफी कुछ processes मैं ऐसे automate कर सकता हूँ. That's very interesting.
No, bro. I think that is the real arbitrage.
I think you have an angle in there, in that I think you can be hired by organizations to improve their workflows in this way too. I don't know if that's something
No,
you
that
do.
is not some. If I start taking that up, that could become such a large business because we get insane number of inbounds.
Right.
But what I've realized over the course of time is, if you try to do 25 different things, you'll be good at nothing.
Right.
So I've learned it the hard way that you should learn how to say no. Right? Even though it costs you on short term.
But I think it's a lot of money, bro. Maybe more than what you make. Because organizational enterprise customer pay
No,
karega.
that's what I'm trying to say, right? It's like right now, I have not been optimizing for money at all.
Okay.
Because I know if I have to make money, there are 10 other things that I would do right now, which will make me a lot more money with where I sit today.
Like for instance?
I can't put it on camera.
Oh, okay.
Right? I can't put it on camera.
So you have some like AI hacks?
What do you mean?
Like, I mean, I'm just joking. But what I mean is like, you know, some of those guys were using it on Poly Market. उन्होंने arbitrage establish कर ली है, sure shot money बनेगा, and they've created these strategies. I mean, I meant something like that, but I was joking.
I know what you're saying.
Right.
I think, no, not for this conversation.
I think you're
Not for
smiling.
this
I think you're
one.
smiling. I think you're smiling. There's something you're hiding. Huh?
No. But I like what I truly feel is, anything that you believe or that you want to get done today can be done. You just have to double click on each of them and say that I want to go deeper. I want to go deeper. I want to go deeper. So for the titling experiment that you did, right? Because we have. So if you see our content ecosystem that I've built out, I don't know if you follow my content ecosystem at all. Everything is AI, like I said. Instagram, we've got to 1.5 million. And we were at like 150K 16 months back, 15 months back. And तेरे को पता है, the space is not easy. Education is not easy at all.
No.
And average views for us is like 600K, 700K per video. YouTube, we started. Same 300K subs, 70, 80, 100K views on an average on AI content, which is, again, globally, not many people are able to drive. All this has happened because of agentic systems. So the title test that you're talking about, right? There's a very interesting experiment that we did. In fact, we are running basis of that. You know vidIQ, right?
I have, yeah.
vidIQ has outlier scores. And on every topic, you can see what topics win and outlier scores and all. I told you, right? Browsing agents. Browsing agents are AI using a computer just like you. They are called browsing agents. And there's a benchmark called as OS World right now. And AI today can browse websites that you have never browsed before. Let's say you come across a new website. You figure out how to browse it. You figure out how to use a vidIQ.
Right.
AI can figure that out better than you by using a computer. By opening its own computer and doing it. So even if there is no API, AI can use that website like a human.
Got it.
So we have given the browser access to this. So it scrolls through every single day a cron runs, opens a browser, puts the 10, 15, 20 keywords that we create content on, searches for it, just like a human, opens different browser for, so it's called agent swarm. So एक agent, एक browser open करता है for a specific keyword. Goes through all in the last 24 hours, looks at outlier scores, and basically does this analysis of title, topic, and duration, and thumbnail parallelly for us. So I'm looking up, my AI is looking up content.
And how well is that done for you?
What do you mean how well?
Like, are you able to measure if it's done well for you or not?
I mean, it's working for us.
Sure, working for us, but how much? Like, do you know the difference that it has caused?
So far, I mean, this basically dictates our content strategy.
Achha, so
completely.
it dictates from the very start कि तुम बनाओगे भी क्या?
Yes.
Right. Got it.
I mean, same goes with Instagram.
Right, got it.
AI is basically watching, I don't know, tens of thousands of pieces of content. So the thing is, if a AI content on any topic has gone out on the internet in the last 24 hours, I have a data point on that.
Very interesting.
At least of the ones that we are finding. So we eventually end up finding newer profiles. And that newer profiles gets added. So अगर 5 दिन पहले कोई account आया है और हमारा feed में आया ही नहीं वो after hundreds of scrolls, then it's very hard.
Sure.
But एक बार मिल गया, तो I'm tracking you for life, my brother.
Oh, wow. Damn, you're dangerous.
No, like this is, I'm basically saying all this is possible and you can apply things like this no matter what you do.
Right.
Content के लिए है तो मैं, because you said me the
Right.
experiment,
No, of course.
But I think what you guys are doing is better than 99% of the people already.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
Kudos.
Thank you. I appreciate that, bro.